Hi everyone, it's Tess from teachwithtess.com. You may well know by now, this channel is all about Wales English, ESL teaching online, and of course, working from home. If you find the content I do, please don't forget to subscribe, because then you'll get alerted to all the content that goes up every Monday, and of course, like the video if you find it helpful. Today, it's all about budgeting. Now, I'm going to be interviewing a really great friend of mine, Brittany Flammer, who's got a super interesting story to tell, and she's got a ton of tips to share with us all about budgeting for ESL teachers who are often trying to navigate those complicated monthly income being different. That was terrible, but you know what I mean. She's going to share her top tips. Down below, there'll be links in the description box for you to follow to go and get some freebies I know she's bringing into this. And I really would love to hear from you in the comments. Is this helpful? What other content would you like me to make for you? If you're interested in Wales English, of course, head off, when this video is finished, head over to my website, teachwithtess.com, and you will find everything you need to know about Wales English there. So now, let's head over and meet Brittany. So Brittany, it's so good to see you here today. Thank you so much for coming along to share your knowledge and experience on budgeting. And I really thought that for you to talk to teachers about how to sort of start off and just continue when a lot of teachers are in a fairly insecure environment where they don't always know what the income is going to be at the end of the month, I thought just to be able to talk to teachers about budgeting as an online teacher would be super useful. But before you do that, Brittany, do you just want to introduce yourself and sort of share your story a bit and why you're here today?
Sure, I would love to. I'm happy to be here. I am Brittany Flammer. I'm a mom to 5 kids, ranging in age from 11 down to 2. My husband and I have been married almost 16 years now. And we've never made very much money right after we got married. I was in school still. We did Peace Corps for 2 years. So we volunteered for 2 years. Then he went to grad school for several years. We lived in LA with very little income. He did a fellowship after that. He's a teacher now, so we've never made very much money. And yet we've still been able to afford, we stayed out of debt. We were able to save up money for our home. We traveled internationally with our kids. We've traveled here in the US, lots of road trips with our kids, because that's what's important to us. We've been able to do that, even though we had a really low income. And I started teaching online as a way to earn a little bit of extra income on the side for fun, for traveling. And my love really truly is budgeting. And so I see that there are so many teachers that start teaching for the income, but really could use help with how to budget that income, how to work with that inconsistent income when they don't know what to expect every month. And so I've kind of switched my YouTube channel to more helping teachers budget and doing all that because it's what I love and I've had a lot of experience with it. So that's why I'm doing it.
Now just remind me and remind everyone listening, what's the name of your YouTube channel so they can go and find
it's just my name. It's pretty boring. It's Brittany Flammer.
Easy to find, but there'll be a link below in the description box so people can go off and find it. And what else have you been doing? Because you've had your YouTube channel going, but you've just recently created an Etsy shop as well, haven't you?
Yeah, so I started teaching, and you teach for Wales English. I started teaching for VIP Kid. And so I started the YouTube channel helping other teachers get hired for VIP Kid. But now I've switched to doing budgeting videos, and I started selling a few things on Etsy. Like I have my budget template and a net worth tracker and some savings charts, just simple things you can download and print out and use to help you with your budgeting. Just they're little things that I have used that helped us. And so I'm finding like that they're helpful for everyone. So I've spent time creating things on that. And so now my videos are more catered towards budgeting and saving money and getting out of debt, that kind of stuff.
And your videos are fantastic. I've watched the one, your 50 tips, in how many minutes was that? Something crazy? 3 minutes? Like 10 or mad. It was amazing. So, oh yeah, write that one down, write that one down. Had to watch it a few times. But anyway, maybe what we should do is to jump straight in, because of course you're here to share your 10 top tips maybe 11. We'll see if there are more that come out. But mainly your 10 top tips for ESL teachers. So why don't you, I think you've got something you wanted to share, Brittany?
Yeah, I'll pull up the slides right here.
And then I'm just going to hand over to you.
Okay.
Excellent.
Okay, can you see that?
I can see that. So you're good to go. That's
okay,
cool.
Awesome. So today I just wanted to share 10 simple tips. When you start off teaching online, you are a business. Even though you might not feel like it, you're a business. And so the first few tips are to help you deal with budgeting as a business. And then the next few tips are how to deal with your inconsistent income as a teacher. So let's just hop in. First of all, when you're first getting started, try to do it on a budget. You want, like, I know when I first started, I wanted to buy a nice computer and webcam, and I wanted the best earphone. Like, I wanted everything, but really you don't need that to get started. And if you don't know how much you're going to make, or maybe you're not even going to like it and it's not going to be your thing. Yeah. So here on the left hand side, that's what my classroom looks like when I'm teaching. So it's pretty simple, but I spent $4 to get started. Brilliant. Because I was hesitant. I'm not a teacher I did not study education, so I wasn't sure if it was going to work out for me. So I used a roll of wrapping paper, and I got those little pom-poms at the store, and I printed out the Chinese flag and my name. It was $4. But I like to stand, and so I looked into the electric standing desks, and I would love one of those, but I didn't want to spend do you like yours, Tess? I love mine, but I didn't buy when I started. It took me over a year to invest in it. Yeah. And so didn't you, was it you that you used an ironing board for a time? Yeah, didn't I've used an ironing board. I'm absolutely agree with you. I think when you start teaching, do not spend money. Don't spend the basics to make it work. Yeah, and you don't even know exactly what kind of a teacher you might be. Maybe you think you want lots of stuffed animals, and then you don't use them. So teach a few classes, get the hang of it, and then I have accumulated a few props, but I didn't start with anything. No. I printed out some stars for rewards, and I stole a few props for my kids, and that's all I did. But I like the idea of standing. So I set my computer on a stool, and it worked. But then if you'll notice, my background is really tall, so that I have it so if I'm tired, I can sit down, and I just prop my computer up on an Amazon box. It's exactly. So I think you're absolutely spot on there, Brittany. It can be so simple, can't it? You can have these super fancy things, but you don't need it to start with. Yes, so I suggest get started, and once you start making money, then you can invest a little bit more. So next on my item, I want a webcam. For teaching, I'm 2 inches is all I am. So my lighting is fine for teaching, but now that I'm doing YouTube videos and I do some lives, and this recording is awful because I have a cheap computer. So I would like to invest in a webcam, but just when I started teaching, I didn't need it. So just keep it simple. And you don't have to invest in a lot. People use shower curtains, or right now I've got fabric behind me. That's all. It doesn't have to be too elaborate to get started. So it can be cheap in the beginning. Yeah, totally agree. Yeah. Now this is a good idea. So yes, the next thing, because you are self-employed, so you want to keep track of your expenses. Yeah. Now, taxes here in the US are a lot different than in the UK. And I'm assuming most of your viewers are in the UK. Maybe not. Actually, they're split. There's a lot in the States and a lot in the UK. So, cool. It's about 60% British, the rest, and the others are American. So okay, that's awesome. So I did do a little bit of research on taxes in the UK, and it is different than in the US, but the concept is the same. So you guys have to pay taxes on your profit over, I think it's 12,000 pounds, but it's just on your profit. So you can subtract all of your expenses. Yeah. So it's those little things, the $5 magnets and the $25 headphones, they do add up. So you want to keep track of them. Yeah. So this is the spreadsheet that I used for my first couple of years teaching. Every month when I got paid, I enter in how much. Every time I buy something, I enter in how much. So I have, at the end of the year, I have it all done. It takes me 2 minutes to prepare taxes. Yeah. So this is what I used for several years. And for anyone that's interested, they can get this for free. I'll give you the link to put in your description box.
Excellent.
It's simple, straightforward. It does the calculation for you. It's just a matter of keeping track of those expenses. And you can switch it to pounds. I have a little video showing you how to do it.
It's so important, Brittany, because I do that. I sort of, when I buy things, I sort of save if they're online, save all the invoices into a file. Same thing, upload it by months, income, all my expenses. And I think the other thing, which I'm sure you were going to mention, but I don't know how it works in the States, but in the UK, you can put against, if you're working from home, you can put a percentage of your expenditure of your home.
Yes, you can. So the way it works in the US is you take the size of your space, if it's dedicated to your teaching space. So I have it's a closet, a big closet, but it's like, I don't know, say it's 20 square feet. You take the percentage of the size of your home or apartment, and then you can deduct all of your utilities, your internet, everything for that percentage, if that makes sense. So I don't know exactly how it works in the UK, but yes, all of those.
It's not far off.
Yeah, so keeping track of your expenses, and those little things add up. You think, oh, it was just $10 or $15, like it adds up. So keep track of it. So this spreadsheet helps. It's really simple. This is what I use. I now use a more elaborate one. Now that I'm doing YouTube, I have a few different streams of income. And I sell that one on my Etsy shop, but this one is all you need when you get started. So feel free to snag this one, or just do it with pen and paper, but just keep track.
Do it.
Yes, you'll thank yourself at the end of the year. Just start today, even just start. But then the next thing is to try to keep your expenses for your business, your teaching, separate from your personal stuff. So you can go as far as opening a separate account. I didn't at first, but make sure you keep everything separate. So when I go to the store to buy something, if I'm buying something for teaching, I will ring it up separate on its own receipt, just to keep it separate. So it's easier, so I don't lose anything, and so it's easier to track. So if you can, feel free to set up separate accounts. I now have separate accounts, but at first I didn't. But try to keep your spending as separate as possible.
I think I just to add to that one, I think, I mean, I've had a limited company, which I can't remember what it is in the US.
It's LLC, state limited liability company.
Right. But now I stopped that because it was a completely different venture. But I'm, like the majority of us, we're all sole traders, or we're our own business. And I have, even for this, I started immediately with a separate bank account, simply because it's so much easier and totally transparent. My income goes in there and my expenditures go from there. So it's super easy to keep track of.
Yes. And even so, here in the US, in order to open a business account, you have to have an official LLC with your EIN. But even if you're not doing that, because I didn't need that, if you're just teaching, you don't need all that, but you can at your bank, just your personal account, open up a separate checking account. Yeah, exactly. So that makes it a lot easier. Like you said, way to go.
Way to go. Keep it simple, Brittany.
Yes, the simpler the better. The more complicated it is, the more likely it is to fail. That's how that's how my life functions. But also, along with that, organizing your receipts. So there are lots of ways to do it. I'd be happy to see how you do it. This is just what I do. So I use Gmail. So on my phone, computer, whatever, I have a file. I created a file folder named taxes, and then I have a subfolder for each year. So when I go to Amazon and I order my webcam and they send me my confirmation, I just swipe it and move it to that file. So it's all there, separate. If I go to the store and buy something, I take a picture of the receipt and email it to myself. And then I can throw away the receipt. I don't know if in the UK, if you have to have actual receipts. Here in the US, they now accept pictures of receipts.
I'm not sure. That's a good question. I love this idea, because what I've been doing is, if I buy something from Amazon and get the receipt, I have files in my computer by month, and everything goes in per month and with the year. So it swings and roundabouts, but whatever it is, we
Yes,
have to have
that's
nice
awesome.
somewhere to find.
Yes. But yes, keep a file somewhere, your computer somewhere
Yeah.
organized. But I do like taking pictures of actual
Yeah.
receipts, or a lot of stores
Good
now
idea,
will email
actually.
you your receipt.
Yeah.
So just save it somewhere. It just makes life so much easier.
And
And
the last thing, sorry, just to interrupt, I was just thinking, because this happened to me. Make sure you have a backup if you're putting everything on the computer, because if your computer crashes or dies, you have no trace of anything. So
yes.
do not forget to back up, not just this, but everything. But
yes,
yeah.
yes, that's smart. We have done that. Our computer, actually, it was like a month after I started teaching, I knocked over my computer and it broke.
Oh no.
But we had most everything saved on an external hard drive. But that is one thing I do like about the email, is I don't have to worry about
That's
my
a really
computer
good point.
breaking.
It's a really good point.
But yes, keep backups. Yes, that's so smart. And so if you use Amazon Photos automatically, you can link your phone.
Yeah.
So it will save. So any pictures I take of my receipts would automatically be saved too.
Very good.
So you're so smart, Tess. Good thinking.
Oh, I'm so smart.
But so being an online teacher, I think the hardest part is you don't know how much you're going to make. You're not guaranteed an income, right? You're not salary. So this is a snapshot of my income from last year.
Yeah.
So you can see it changes. I don't know if yours is like this. It changes drastically month to month.
Yeah.
So how it's so hard to budget if you don't know what to expect, especially if you're just getting started. So the next few tips are some suggestions to help for you with your budgeting.
Okay. Drink wine.
Yeah. I'm not going to encourage you to get drunk, but this tip for budgeting with inconsistent income is to age your money. So like wine gets better with time, right? Isn't that? So think of wine. You want to age your money. So what does that mean, to age your money? That basically means getting ahead. So say I get paid in February. I don't turn around and spend that money in February. I don't spend it until March. So you want your money to be in your account longer. So it's easier for me to budget in March because I already have the money in my account.
Yeah.
So you're not guessing on how much money you're going to make. You already know how much you have for the month. So
very sensible.
So it's, in theory, that's great, but it's really hard if you're living paycheck to paycheck. Yeah. It's really hard to do that. So just start with where you are and set aside anything you can so that you have a month's worth of expenses in your account, and then you can age it and know exactly how much you have to spend. So the next few tips are, while you're working on aging your money, things you can do right now. Okay. So this is how I do it. So I get paid in February, but then I start my budget for March. So I already know how much I have to spend. But like I said, it can take time to reach up to that, especially if you're paycheck to paycheck. So what I recommend doing is look at how much you've made in the past. So I take a look at my last year's income, and my average was $574 a month. So I find the average. So if you've been teaching for 3 months, find the average of the 3 months. If you've been teaching for a year, take your year and just look to get an average. And then I'm going to set my budget based on that. I'm just going to assume that I'm going to make $574 every month, and I'm going to set my budget at that. And then what I'll do is go to that bank where you've already opened up a separate checking account. Yeah. And have a separate account. And so those months, see, the 1 month I made more than $300 over five. So I'm going to take that extra $300 and put it in that separate account. Yeah. So I don't get to spend extra that month because I made extra. I put it aside. So then when I come to this month where I make hardly anything, because I was moving and whatever, yes, I have money in the account. So I can still spend money like normal because I set it aside when I had extra.
That's such a good idea. It's so simple, yet it's such a good idea.
It's so simple. It really is simple, but it's just a mindset. Like it's so easy to, wow, we got paid, let's go out to eat, or let's go on a trip.
Yeah.
So there has to be some discipline, but if you have the account set up right there, it takes 10 seconds on your phone to transfer, or on your computer to transfer it. So that's what has worked really well for us. But actually having it in a separate account so you can see it.
Yeah.
If you just leave it in your regular account, it gets spent, right?
That's exactly why I have mine very separate. I have, and I will always transfer what I need. So very much like you, I leave it in my other account or putting it into a separate savings account, and then I just draw down exactly what I need for the month. And I always pay myself the same amount. So I pay myself even if I earn more. It's that mindset, isn't it, Brittany? You pay yourself, you set your salary, so yours is 574, let's say, and that's what you pay yourself, and you live on your income.
Yes, that's awesome. You see, you should be teaching this.
No, you're better at it than me. I can talk the talk. I don't always do.
But it's out of sight, out of mind. It's like brownies. If I bake brownies and leave them on the counter, I'm going to eat every single one. But if I put them up in the cupboard, I forget they're there and I don't eat them. So then my kids actually get some.
Yes, but you don't want that with money. You don't want your kids to go, oh, I'm going to take $50 I found in the cupboard.
Yep. So you set it aside and just pay yourself. But then when you need it, you have the money to pull out. So that's great. And then another thing that really helps with just budgeting in general is these irregular expenses that aren't monthly. So I'm not sure how it works in the UK. Here in the US, a lot of car insurance, you pay every 6 months, or you register your car once a year. You have these one time or twice a year expenses. So what I do is everything that I possibly can, I set up on monthly payments. Yeah. So our car insurance, we're able to pay monthly. So I pay monthly. But for things like Christmas, like I don't know what I'm going to buy for Christmas in December, but I know that I'm going to buy something for Christmas. So, and I don't know the exact dollar amount, but I can get an idea. So say we want to spend around $1,200 for Christmas. I know that every month I need to set aside $200 so that I have the money come Christmas. So any of these irregular expenses, like a vacation, usually you do 1 or 2 a year, but you can set aside a little bit every month so that you have the amount when it comes. So I just figure out how much you wanted to spend and divide it by 12 and make it a monthly expense. Yeah,
I think it's interesting you said in the UK for the car, we pay, as far as I know, it's certainly an annual fee. And your car insurance can be broken into 12, but usually it's more expensive.
Oh, okay. So then what I would do is
pay upfront. I pay now because I can, but if I couldn't, I'd pay monthly. But it's a balance, isn't it?
Yes, it is. So if there's something like that is going to be annual and it's a discount, then I would definitely try to pay it annually, but set aside your money each month in your account so that you for next year when it's time to pay that, you have the full amount. But anything anything, well, even like even car repairs, like eventually you're going to have to change your tires, something's going to go wrong on the car, so we set aside a little bit every month. So you don't know when, you don't know what, but you know that there's going to be something at some point. So just making it a monthly thing. So we actually have a separate savings account just for car stuff. So
really, do you have separate accounts for different things?
So what my dream is a bank that lets you open up folders. So you can, but I'm such a visual person. So I need to see it in different accounts. So we have our main checking account, then we have a lot of savings accounts. So, and I don't, every bank's a little bit different. Usually you can get savings accounts for free. Usually. And so we have one for a car. And so any car expense, I put a little bit every month, and then any car repair when it's time. So my husband just had to have some work done. We spent $600, but I pulled out the $600 from the account because we've been putting money in. We have a vacation fund, a Christmas fund. We have a kids extracurricular fund because our kids they play sports. But Maybe in the summer we have to spend a lot, or in the winter we don't spend anything. It's not consistent. So we set aside a little bit every month. And then when it's time to register, I have the money right there.
Yeah, it's I think that is absolutely key. I know that I'm very much like you. I need, even though if I know I have all of this money, if it's only in one account, it's sort of like it disappears, doesn't it? It all merges into another. And oh, well, if I just have a little bit more on that, it doesn't really matter, does it? And it's sort of always a big thing. But I love having, I mean, I've got 2 savings accounts, and I'm just like, I would love to have one for each pot.
Yes.
It's a bit difficult, but
one time when I did an internship in college, and they had a credit union. If you worked at that company, you could use the credit union. And that credit union let you open up folders. So it was just one account, but you could see. And I have never found any bank that does that since then. I've been looking. So if anyone knows of one, let me know. Because I don't necessarily want to have like 15 accounts, but it's not hard to set them up. And when I log in, I can see, but I love the visual, seeing, oh, we've got this much for Christmas, or when the car breaks down, it's okay, we have the money in the account. Or my husband and I were just discussing, we want to do some landscaping in our yard, and that's going to be a lot. So I said, okay, we can just pull some of the money out of our vacation. That means our vacation is going to be less, but we can transfer it around and move it however we want. But just seeing that it's there is so helpful. And that means you don't go on a vacation when you don't have the money in the, it's just helpful for me to see it separate and visualize.
Absolutely. I think it's great. And it gives you some form of accountability, doesn't it? For some people, like, you know, there are times I have definitely been guilty of this, when I just sort of pretend and think, oh, this will be fine, I'm sure I can do this and afford this, and I will pay for it, but I pay for it through other things. And I suddenly realize that actually I don't have as much as and I really scrape by some months. And I think when you're accountable, because you can visually see, and whether or not it's in different accounts, or if you have spreadsheets and you know, if you can't, and you just track where your money is, it means that you can see, I can afford that holiday or that work in the yard or whatever it is, or I can't. And I think that is really important.
Yes. And if you don't want to open up all the accounts, I have used in the past, I've used trackers. So like I print out, when we were saving for our house, I printed out a chart and just colored in the line every $100 or $200, just to see it growing. And that works with anything. That works with vacation or with paying off debt, anything, just to see it growing. So that's a great way to do it too. And it's a good visual for our kids. So we've had the conversation with our kids, like, our vacation this year is going to be small because we just bought a house and we're doing all this house stuff. So we've told them that next year we're going to do a big vacation, like, so they know that, and they can see the charts and the money, and so it's just,
and it teaches them, of course, as well. Important.
So, but any of these expenses, if you can make them monthly, that makes it so much easier on your budget. And then this is a book. You Need a Budget. This is a book written by Jesse Meekum. And I love to read finance and budgeting stuff, but I know a lot of people don't. But this is a book that is great for everyday normal people. No difficult vocab. And it is especially great. So he has his own budgeting software, but he has 4 rules that he talks about in his book. 4 rules that all of your money falls into these 4 rules. And you follow the 4 rules and it sets you up. But his focus is spending money that you have on hand. It's not guessing how much you're going to make next month. There's no guesswork. It's just dealing with the money you already have in your pocket or in your checking account. And so it's really good for inconsistent income, like online teachers. So this is a book that it was really fun. I listened to it, you know, Audible, listened to it. It was entertaining. He had lots of examples, and it's really ideal for inconsistent income. So I highly recommend this book to anyone.
Can you get it on Amazon?
Yes, you can.
Okay, all right. I'll stick a link in the description.
And if you do the free trial for Audible, you can get it for free. I don't know how much it costs. I don't remember. But yeah, it's on Amazon.
Okay, cool. That sounds like a good idea.
Yeah, so it's I've just found it a couple months ago. I hadn't read it before, but I really enjoyed it, and it's everyday normal language. He has kids, he's a normal person, but he's been using the budget for years, and he has lots of examples of people in different, like people with kids, no kids, single, old, retired, and it's really helpful for inconsistent income. So I highly recommend this book.
Excellent.
And then just the last tip is just your spending. I just recommend, I don't know if you're familiar with Marie Kondo and her okay, so she's been really popular on getting rid of clutter. And her thing is, like, you pick up an object, and if it brings you joy, you keep it. If it doesn't give you joy, you get rid of it. I kind of feel that way about your money. Like, you want to spend the money on the things that bring you joy, not on things you don't care about.
Yeah.
So some examples, going out to eat with friends. What is it that you enjoy about that? Is it getting together with your girlfriends? Or is it the food that you enjoy? Because if it's getting together with girlfriends, you can get together and go on a walk or go to the park. You can do something that doesn't cost a lot. If it's the food, then you can find cheaper alternatives to an expensive restaurant, right? But find what it is that brings you joy. So don't waste your money. I know I'm guilty of going to the store and just mindlessly spending because I need a break from the kids and my husband's watching the kids. And you walk through the store, and before you know it, you've spent $100. Yeah. But it's not really bringing me joy. Like, I could go somewhere else and get the same
I know so what you mean, Brittany. And you know what? It's funny. Because obviously this is being recorded when we're sort of beginning now to come out of this year of COVID. And it used to be that you'd go to the supermarket because that was the only thing, well, in the UK, we couldn't go anywhere. We weren't allowed anywhere and everything was shut. So let's go and have a break from our house and go to the supermarket. And then, yes, the joyful spending, no. But spending because there was nothing else to do.
Yes. So the first few months of COVID, our spending drastically dropped because, like you said, we couldn't go anywhere. But then I noticed with us, then we started getting on Amazon, like, oh, we could buy this. We'd like this. Let's get this. And so then our spending went way up. But it's just being conscious and making sure that when you spend the money, it's on something that's going to bring joy. Because if I'm just going out because I need something to do, I can go to the park or I can go to a thrift store. I don't have to spend $100 at a department store, right? So just be conscious with your spending. So, and make sure you choose the things that bring joy, not just for something to do. So a couple of things, I have these 2 freebies that I'll make sure you have the link to. One is this spreadsheet that I mentioned, and I have if you download it, I have a little video showing you how I use it. But then also this checklist I have on how to save thousands. It's just a bunch of small, simple, everyday things that we do that add up over time. It's just frugal living tips. So you're welcome to.
Is that also in your Etsy shop?
No, this is free.
That's free. Okay.
It is.
Below in the description box. Get this.
And it's little everyday things that over time add up to a lot of money. It's more of the mindset of just being conscious about your money spending.
I think it's so interesting and so important because, you know, as I must admit, for teachers at Wales, there's a slight difference to companies like VIP Kid, those that are more flexible, because with Wales you get these regular classes. So unless cancellations come in for Chinese New Year or because they're on or something, you pretty much know what you'll get on a monthly basis. The variation can be with the bonuses for sign-ups from trial classes or stuff like that. So it's really great when you're at that point with regular classes because you have an idea. But for those starting out at Wales, like in any company, you have no idea. You know, how many trials are you going to get this week? How many next week? I don't know. And it's not until they've been there for a few months that they'll start having this regular income. And it's so important to be on top of your finances when you are doing a job like this, because it can rapidly, and especially if you're somebody who doesn't have a partner or you're on one income, it's, you know, these sort of tips are invaluable. I think they're absolutely brilliant. So it's so straightforward, but it's so brilliant. And I don't, you know, life can get in the way and you can forget to do things like this, can't you?
Yeah, we're busy, right? I've got 5
Yeah.
kids. I love finance, but I don't spend a lot of time on our finances.
No.
So keep it simple. And anything that can be automated, I automate. So I said every month we put money into these categories. It's all automatic.
Yeah.
I set it up once and I don't have to think about it. But then when we need the money, I just pull it out, right? So keep it simple as possible. I will fail if I make it complicated. It won't work for me.
Oh, I think it's fantastic. Well, I'm going to go and have a look at that freebie. I most definitely am.
Well, so it's not unlimited. I just start listing out things I do, and I'm like, but then I think about stuff. I'm like, oh, I need to add this to the list.
Yeah.
Oh, I should add that. So let me know what ideas you come up, because I know people have lots more than what I have included, and I will add them. But just anyone, you can do it. Anyone can figure out their finances, and you can do it. It's figure outable.
That's so useful. Thanks so much, Brittany. I really appreciate this. And I think you've just shared so much really easy, doable things to help us all budget and live successfully with a variable income. So thank you so much. And I look forward to seeing you, and I'll be coming over to your YouTube channel very soon. You've got a website as well where we can hop along to, brittanyflammer.com.
Yes, I do. Right now it has links to my freebies as well. Right now it's still mostly VIP Kid, how to get started, but I'm transitioning it next month. That's my goal, to switch my website to all budgeting stuff and to have links for people that need help staying accountable. I'm going to try to do some coaching on that. So
oh, that's fantastic. I look forward to
baby steps.
Yeah, baby steps. Well, listen, thanks so much, Brittany. I'll see you soon. Really appreciate your time. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.